entry-level jobs in areas like finance, consulting, tech, many other areas like that, entry-level white-collar work. I worry that those things are going to be first augmented, but before long, replaced by AI systems.
92 million, 300 million exposed to automation. And 41% of employers are actively planning to shrink their workforces because of artificial intelligence.
A new IMF report warns that nearly 40% of global employment is exposed to AI.
One headline says AI will destroy 92 million jobs, another says it will create 170 million. Same report, both miss the real story, the uneven disruption. Here is the first correction. Those numbers are not AI only, these are also the statistics, and I'll also show you the others. It is up to you to decide what could affect you more. The job transitions or even layoffs include technology, demographic change, the green transition, economic pressure, and geopolitics. So this is not a clean job apocalypse, and it is not guaranteed abundance. Some tasks disappear, some occupations grow, some workers become more valuable, others lose bargaining power. In many companies, employees are already using AI faster than management understands. In the last video, we looked at the claim that junior developers are dead. Today, I want to zoom out because the junior developer problem is only the part of a much bigger labor market shift. The internet gives us two stories. AI replaces everyone, or AI creates so much productivity that everybody wins. Both are too simple. A job is not one task, it is a bundle of tasks, decisions, relationships, responsibility, and accountability. AI can automate part of job without deleting the job title, but it can still reduce hiring, raise the entry bar, change salaries, or remove the routine work people once used to learn. That is why a positive net job number can coexist with real pain. A box labeled software developer breaks into smaller task cards: coding, debugging, meeting, architecture, testing, security, documentation, and product decisions. Let us start with the statistic everybody shares. The World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs Report 2025 gathered expectations from more than 1,000 employers, representing over 14 million workers across 55 economies. Those employers projected that structural labor market change could affect 22% of today's jobs by 2030. They estimated that 170 million jobs could be created and 92 million displaced, producing a net gain of 78 million. But three warnings matter. First, this is an employer projection. It is not a guaranteed forecast. Second, it covers multiple forces, not AI alone. And third, net plus 78 million tells us almost nothing about distribution. The person losing an administrative job does not automatically become an AI specialist, nurse, teacher, or renewable energy engineer. The new role may require different skills. It may exist in another region, it may pay differently, or it may arrive years after the old role disappears. The report itself shows that split. AI and machine learning specialists, big data specialists, and software and application developers are among the fastest growing roles in percentage terms, but the largest growth is expected in frontline work: care, construction, delivery, farming, and education. Meanwhile, data entry clerks, bank tellers, cashiers, and administrative assistants are expected to decline. So demand is not moving in one direction, it is moving between occupations. Now look at employers' AI plans. 77% say that they plan to upskill workers, but 41% also plan to reduce their workforce where AI can automate tasks. The same company can train one department, shrink another, and create a few highly paid AI roles. That is uneven disruption inside a single organization. The WEF also estimates that 59 out of every 100 workers will need training by 2030, and 11 out of 59 may not receive it. That is real transition risk, not simply whether the global total lands positive, but whether the person whose work changes receives time, support, training, and a realistic path into the new work. The International Labour Organization gives us a better way to think about this. Its 2025 study with Poland's NASK Institute examined nearly 30,000 occupational tasks. It found that around 1 in 4 jobs worldwide has some exposure to generative AI. That rises to roughly 1 in 3 jobs in high-income countries. But the conclusion was not that 1 in 4 jobs will disappear. The ILO found that transformation is more likely than replacement because most occupations still contain tasks that require human involvement. Think of a job as a playlist. It may remove or rewrite several tracks. The playlist changes, but it is not automatically deleted. For an accountant, AI may draft summaries and classify transactions, but humans still handle exceptions, regulation, client trust, and responsibility. For a developer, AI may generate boilerplate tests, documentation, or a first implementation, but someone still has to understand the system, define the constraints, integrate the components, investigate failures, secure the product, and decide whether the result is actually correct. That is also an uncomfortable detail. Clerical work remains the most exposed, but the ILO found rising exposure in highly digitized professional roles too, including web developers, application programmers, finance, and media work. So these two statements can both be true. My occupation is growing, and many of my current tasks are becoming automatable. Now we get to the management gap. McKinsey surveyed 3,613 employees and 238 C-level executives in late 2024. Most respondents were in the United States and many worked at large companies, so this does not represent every workplace, but the gap is revealing. C-suite leaders estimated that only 4% of employees use generative AI for more than 30% of their daily work. Employees reported 13%. Looking 1 year ahead, only 20% of leaders believed employees would reach that level, and employees were much more aggressive. 47% expected to, and only 1% of surveyed C-suite leaders described their organization's generative AI rollout as mature. So while executives make 5-year workforce plans, employees are already generating code, rewriting emails, summarizing meetings, and constructing unofficial workflows. Management may be debating whether AI adoption has started while adoption is already happening through private accounts, browser tabs, and tools that are not being measured. That can create productivity, but it can also create security, privacy, quality, and training problems. The worker knows that the workflow has changed. The company may only see the software license. Anthropic's first economic index analyzed millions of anonymized cloud conversations. Usage was concentrated in software development and technical writing. Anthropic classified 57% of usage as augmentation, where a person collaborates with AI, and 43% as automation, where AI is directed to complete a task. This evidence has limits. It represents one AI product and its users. It does not measure every worker, and it does not prove what happened to employment afterward. Still, it supports one important point. Disruption often enters through tasks before it appears in job titles. AI can eliminate a narrow task. It can compress work, so the same output requires fewer hours or fewer people. It can augment a worker, allowing that person to produce better results, and it can create new demand because cheaper software analysis, design, or content makes newer products possible. Imagine 3 companies with identical 10-person software teams. At company A, AI reduces implementation time. The company shapes more features and hires more people in product, security, and customer success. At company B, the roadmap stays fixed. Management decides 8 people can now do the work of 10. At company C, legal, data, and infrastructure problems block serious adoption. Almost nothing changes. Same technology, 3 different labor outcomes. The deciding factor is not AI capability alone. It is customer demand, management decisions, competition, regulation, company costs, and whether productivity gains are reinvested or used only to reduce expenses. That is why job counts are a lagging indicator. For developers, 2 statements are true at the same time. Software development roles can continue growing, and the work inside those roles can become more automated, competitive, and demanding. The vulnerable profile is not simply junior or senior. It is the low context worker whose main value is turning a clearly written ticket into a predictable output. AI is improving at that layer. The more durable engineer can define the problem, understand the system, make trade-offs, verify the result, manage risk, and connect technical work to a business outcome. So what should you do? First, audit your work at the task level. Which tasks can AI complete? Which can it accelerate? And which can still require your judgment, access, relationship, or accountability. Second, stop measuring AI skills by how many tools you have tried. Build one repeatable workflow, understand the requirement, use AI to explore options, generate a first draft, test it, review it, check security, and document the decision. Third, invest heavily in verification. As generation becomes cheaper, checking becomes more valuable. Testing, debugging, observability, security, code review, evaluation, and recognizing confident errors become career skills. Fourth, move closer to context. Learn the customer, the industry, the architecture, the constraints, and the economics of the product. Context is what turns generated output into a useful system and keeps evidence of your leverage. Do not say that I can use AI. Show that you delivered faster without increasing defects, reduced incident resolution time, improved documentation, or helped your team create a safer AI workflow. The goal is not to become a professional prompt writer. It is to become a professional who can direct AI, verify AI, and remain accountable for the result. So what is real? AI is automating tasks, changing hiring standards, increasing productivity expectations, and giving some employers a reason to reduce headcount. What is hype? That every exposed job will disappear, that 170 million new jobs are being created by AI, or that a positive global net number means every worker will be fine. And what is uncertain? How quickly companies redesign work, whether productivity creates more demand or fewer employees, who receives training, and who captures the economic gains. My final verdict is simple. The real AI job story is not mass extinction, it is uneven disruption. The safest career position is not being the fastest person at producing routine output. It is being the person who understands the problems, uses AI intelligently, catches what it gets wrong, and owns the outcome. Subscribe for more AI reality checks for developers and tech professionals, and in the comments tell me one task in your job that AI has already changed. Not your job title, the task.